Hi, my name is Yuri Zuban. I'm a conversational backend developer at Master of Code Global and Glia, and this video will be about creating a children's illustration book using Midjourney and ChatGPT. In order to create a children's illustration book or other illustrated book, we need to pass the following steps. First, we need to understand what to draw. That is, what our characters will be, what will be the idea, the scenario, what graphical materials we will need. Next, we will actually generate the content, and in this video we will be using Midjourney for generating graphics and ChatGPT for generating the dialogues. And then we need to combine everything together using some photo editing software like Photoshop or other alternatives. And then, optionally, you may want to publish it as in the electronic form or to print it. If we are speaking about what to draw, there are several options how you can get this idea. If you want to learn working with Midjourney manually, I may suggest illustrating some existing story, for example, a fairy tale. And just an example, there is a nice tutorial which I looked through on this Easy As channel, and it shows illustrating the Alice in Wonderland book. It contains all the prompts and a lot of other interesting and useful instructions. So, if you are looking for some story to illustrate, that is mainly to work in Midjourney and with graphics, you may choose this approach. The second one, if you would like to create something own and something maybe new, creative, you can work in ChatGPT on that. I haven't gone deeply into that, so to say, rabbit hole yet, but looks like there are quite some examples on the internet and on YouTube. And just as a quick example, we can try doing something like that. For example, and as an option, there is this repository with called Awesome ChatGPT Prompts, and it has an example how to instruct ChatGPT to act as a storyteller. We can copy this prompt, go to ChatGPT, paste the prompt, and it says the following: I want you to act as a storyteller. You will come up with entertaining stories that are engaging, imaginating, and captivating for the audience, and so on. And at the end of this prompt, we may add our story topic. For example, let it be. So my first request is two crazy squirrels in the forest looking for nuts. And ChatGPT is generating some story. So once upon a time, in a lush and vibrant forest, there were two squirrels named Sammy and Nutmeg, and so on. Then, if needed, you can ask it to expand some parts of this story, or even to describe the scenes which you will be then generating images for. So, this is the second approach, to create a story using ChatGPT. And finally, maybe you already have your own story, an imaginary story or a real one. I took the third approach, and in my case, so I have kids, they want pets, and we had several discussions with them about different animals. And I thought, why not to create a children's illustration book about this conversation? So the first slide would show children, two girls and a boy, asking their parents for a pet, and their parents agree, ask what kind of pet. The second slide would be children asking for a horse, and there will be a response from their parents why a horse might not work for us. The third slide will be about a crow in the similar fashion. Then there will be several more slides about different other animals. And finally, there will be a slide where children ask what kind of pet may we have, and the parents will say there will be a pet, but let it be a surprise. So now we know what characters we will need. Two girls and one boy of early school age. Those will be a father and a mother. And there will be 5 animals, and in my case those will be a horse, a crow, a lizard, a dragon, and the goose squirrel. Also we will need an image of some surprise box. And now we are ready to proceed to the second step, which is generating content. And in this tutorial we will be using Midjourney and ChatGPT. So, and let's start with generating dialogues in ChatGPT. This was really easy and took me 20 minutes or something. I used one prompt, which is write me one sentence in the style of a children's book about, and then we had some specific part, like children asking their parents for a pet. And it writes, in a cozy house, two curious children with sparkling eyes asked their parents, oh, dear mom and dad, may we please have a furry friend to love and care for? And then to generate the response from the parents, write me one sentence in the style of a children's book about parents asking their children about what type of pet the kids would like to have, as there are many different animals. And here what we get. With a smile on their faces, the loving parents asked their wide-eyed children, tell us, oh little adventurers, with which marvelous creature would you like to join our family and bring joy to our hearts? And so on. So for example, write me one sentence in the style of a children's book about children asking their parents to have a crow as a pet if they can't keep a horse. It's a continuation of the previous one. And it says, with hopeful eyes and mischievous smiles, the imaginative children proposed, oh, dear parents, if a horse is too grand, may we keep a clever crow as our feathered friend instead? So this way I generated these dialects, and I will be using only this direct speech part. And after this step, I got the following. That is, I got this, so to say, scenario. That is, I wrote that on the first opening, on the pages 1 and 2, we will have a dialogue between children and parents where the children ask, mom, dad, maybe we have a pet, and the parents will say this thing. That is, we need to draw something like this. Then the second slide is, children ask, oh, gentle parents, may we have a majestic horse? And parents say, oh, dear ones, the horse is too big, etc. So something like this. And so on. And now I understand that I will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 openings or 14 pages. And we are ready to draw. And this is the more difficult part. It was the most difficult part for me in this project. However, the most surprising and fascinating as well. And we will be using Midjourney. For those who might not have worked with it, like a quick info, that Midjourney is a service built around a service for generating images based on text or prompts. It's a big model trained specifically on the art. Alternatives to Midjourney are DALL-E from OpenAI, or Stable Diffusion, or Leonardo AI, and there are quite a lot of them. However, Midjourney at the moment seems to be the most efficient and creates the most beautiful images. This service is exposed through a Discord bot. That is, one needs to create a Discord account and join their server. Here there are a number of different chats, and in the chat, which is named like newbies and some number, you can start sending prompts and creating your images. For convenience, you can create your own server and add a Midjourney bot there. So your images still will be, at least on the first paid plan, your images still will be available to everyone. I do not bother with that. However, if you are using your own server, it will be more convenient to keep track of your works and do not scroll through the images created by other participants. Midjourney is a paid service. They had a free trial for creating 15 or something images. However, at the moment this is not available no more. I bought this basic plan for $10 a month. It includes around 3 hours 20 minutes of generating time, which, as it's written, should allow creating around 200 images a month. In my case, through this project, I created around 230 images, and still that cost me around a half of that time. Possibly children's images may need less compute time. I was using mainly two commands from the Midjourney bot. One is the main to generate images, and another to switch settings. For example, as for settings, the thing I used was switching between these versions of Midjourney 4, 5, and 5.1. In YouTube tutorials about creating children's books, which I've seen, version 4 is mainly recommended. However, in my project, part of the images were generated by this version 4, such as animals, and for generating characters, children, and parents, I used actually version 5.1. I liked these images more than those generated by version 4. So switching between versions of Midjourney was the thing which I did in settings, and in the second and the main command which I was using was this imaging, and here we may write some prompt and add additional keywords to instruct Midjourney to create something. For example, let's create anything like, for example, a purple fat squirrel sleeping on the branch. And here is our fat purple squirrel. Seems quite nice. Midjourney is generating 4 variations of the image. And then we have 4 pairs of buttons named U1, V1, U2, V2, etc., which correspond to the images. So this is the first, second, third, and the fourth one. And we can either create variations based on these images or upscale them. And for example, let's create a variation from the fourth image. I'm in the so-called remix mode. That is, it opens the initial prompt, and let's add something. Let's add a moon in the background. And while it is generating, let's also upscale some image. For example, the second one. Here is our image upscaled. So this is our squirrel with a moon. I started from the following prompt, which was actually taken from this example by EasyS. And the prompt was the following: little girl character, multiple poses and expressions, children's book illustration style, full body character sheet, simple, cute, 5-year-old girl, full color, red shoes, red hooded dress, red clothes, long blonde hair, flat color, no outline, and version 4 of the Midjourney model. And what I got, I was not really happy with. Though this was the same or very similar to what was used in that video, however, the result was quite disappointing to me. Then I had a few experiments with this prompt, changing a little bit, just some words, but still I was not getting what I would like to use. Then Midjourney allows to use images as part of your prompt. That is, you upload an image here to the Discord server, you take the copy of this image, like that, copy image address, and then you write your prompt as usual. Imagine, then you add this URL and then your prompt. This is the image I took from one of the online tutorials, and it changed my output a bit to what I would like to have. And after several experiments, I got this character sheet, which was more or less what I could use. Then I made some changes to it, and for example, my initial idea was to use this girl as one of my girl characters, and a similar girl but with a different hair as another girl character. And then there was this boy character. However, they were not perfect, and I was looking for how that could be optimized. Another thing is, here on Midjourney you can go to the public room and search for what you need. For example, children's illustration book, and see what other people are drawing, and you can take some ideas from there. You can copy the prompts. So this is very cool. But back to my experiments. This, I was almost ready to use these images as for my characters, and I was already upscaling them. However, then I thought I understood that I haven't tried other options of Midjourney server, Midjourney models, and I also switched to them. There are quite a lot of YouTube tutorials on how to make a consistent character with different poses and different expressions. And here is one try. I tried to follow that idea. That is, you upload multiple characters. You get URLs, links to those images, and then you make a prompt which includes all those images and the original prompt, but changed a little bit. For example, you want your character to be happy or to be running or something. And this is what I've got. And it was not actually, it did not work that way I would expect. That is, this girl is really smiling. However, it has a different style. So I continued to experiment and then switched a bit to animals. And with animals it was easier. I had to iterate less to get what I want. For example, this prompt which I found on Midjourney, and the key thing is here, it's illustrated by Kennard Pack. And then I created some variations from this horse and finally took one of them. Some more girls, some more boys, different styles, some more experiments. Then I tried to create a man. So, and this is what I've got from Midjourney for a 40-year-old man, tall, thin t-shirt, full color. Well, it did not suit my idea. Some other options for men and for women. Like, this is how Midjourney sees a mother in a red dress. In general, it was easier to draw children than parents in this children's illustration style, possibly because Midjourney has more images of children in the children's illustration style than for older characters. Yep, some more experiments with men and women. Some prompts I tried to use found on Discord. This is in Pixar style. And then I tried version 5.1 and got this image, and I decided that it might be better than that from the version 4. Here is the comparison. So the bottom one is Midjourney version 4 and the top one is Midjourney version 5.1. And though both of them are nice, I decided to go with this one. And I generated another girl in yellow tones. As for the animals, it was easier with them. So here are horses. Dragons were very nice. It was hard to choose the best one. And dragons and other animals were created using Midjourney version 4. This is a gigantic dragon and some more dragons. It was hard to choose, and then I understood that my children were speaking about this specific toothless dragon from that cartoon. So I started to generate toothless using the prompt toothless dragon, and here is what I used. Actually, as you can see, often Midjourney adds some watermarks and text over the images, possibly as it was trained on such images. But there is a trick to remove that, and you need to add this no words negative prompt. That is no text, fonts, letters, watermarks, etc. And it allows to get rid of those texts. And I generated some variations based on this image and I removed the text, and finally I got these dragons and used this first one. Lizards also were quite nice, and I used this first one. Some more lizards. Looks like Midjourney gives more weight or attention to the words which are at the beginning of the prompt. So if you started from lizard, it's more a lizard. If you add colorful lizard, it becomes more about color and less about lizard. So, and then a crow and some squirrels. I needed a lot of squirrels because parents would say that the goose need to have friends. So after adding multiple, we get these images, and then I stopped with this one. It got this brown frame, but I removed it in Photoshop. So some variations from those, and then I upscaled this image. And this is my dragon upscaled, and the lizard I've chosen. Some final experiments with horses, and then I took this one. It has an extra eye, but I corrected that in Photoshop. This is upscaling that girl in red and other parts of that image. And then upscaling that yellow girl. And then I took this boy, some variations from that boy, and I upscaled these images. I struggled for some time with parents. I didn't like what I was getting. Finally, I got this image, and after variations from this second its part, I took this one. So the man does not really look like me, but it worked for this book. And then this is what I tried to... This is how Midjourney sees a surprised father. Some strange images. Women. And then thinking women. And I finally stopped on this. I took this woman, created some variations, and finally upscaled a few of them. So I also needed some surprise box, and I generated several of them, and finally stopped on this one. And the prompt was gigantic gift box with a bow, children's book illustration style, violet background, no children. So this was my first acquaintance with Midjourney, and possibly I made some extra moves, and drawing could be done easier and more straightforward. But Yeah, for me it took some experiments to get what I need. So we are done with the second step, and that is we generated our content using Midjourney and ChatGPT. And to sum up, we defined our characters and the plot of our story. Then we generated the dialogues and the images. And the next step will be to process that material. For that, we will need some photo editing software. It can be Photoshop, GIMP for Linux. It can be some online service like Pixlr.com or others. I used Photoshop. Before working with the images, I upscaled them, and so I upscaled images in Midjourney, but for easier removal of the background, it's recommended to upscale them further, and for that there are also several online services. I used this one, Pixelbin.io. It's very easy, you just upload your images and choose to upscale them. It allows to upscale them up to 4 times, and it has a free tier for 45 images or so. And this way I've got the upscaled images. And then there is some work in Photoshop. I won't go much into details into the Photoshop processing, because it's there is no much AI there in this my work. At this step, you need to understand what will be the output format for your book. If you are going to publish it online, you need to check what dimensions and what image proportions are required there. In my case, I'm going to print my book, and using a local photo printing service. And I've chosen a book of 23 by 23 centimeters, a square one. That's why in Photoshop we will need to choose the proper dimensions. So this is one opening, 2 pages, and as the resolution for printing is 300 pixels per inch, and the size of the book will be 23 centimeters by 46, that is 2 pages. We input these values here, and it gives us the proper canvas size, and we will be using this CMYK SMIC color model. And then what I was doing was mainly cutting the backgrounds using eraser and selection tools, scaling the images, fixing eyes and fingers, for example, like moving them or erasing, and then adding text. So in this project I used the font Penny. So, and you need to combine everything on the page, keeping in mind that if you will be printing, you need some borders for your content not to be cut. And as a result, I've got these images. So this will be my front page, and on the left you can see the back cover. And here is the first opening, where 3 kids, 2 girls and 1 boy, are asking their parents if they may have a pet. And parents are thinking, so okay, but what kind of pet? And we are using those dialects from ChatGPT. Then children are asking about a horse, and here is our horse, and the parents respond. Then the page where the crow goes, and again parents are not happy with that option. Then the children ask for a lizard. Yeah, but parents have some arguments against the lizard, and a dragon, and some Dagu squirrels. And our final opening is where the children are asking, so, "Oh, wise ones, what magical creature shall we welcome as our cherished pet, filling our days with endless love and delightful memories?" And the parents say, "Oh, dear ones, we hold a secret in our hearts, a special pet that will fill your days with joy and laughter. But let it be a surprise, for its arrival will make our family love soar even higher." And then I went to this service where you can choose the type of a book you want, that is the size, the style and the material of pages, cover, and different options. And you upload your images and you put them on the page. And here is how our book will look like. And at the moment it's being printed, and hopefully I will add a link to the resulting photos of the book in the description to this video. I like this project, and hopefully it will be useful for someone.